This is D, and let's dress for life. That's what's up. What do Black Lives Matter and MeToo movement have in common? They both have to guard their legacy. How can they guard their legacy? By something that we at De-Stress Method call functional forgiveness. And whether you're talking about Black Lives Matter, whether you're talking about Me Too movements or any of these other movements, there's a bitterness, there's a hostility that's in the air. And I know many individuals will say, well, listen, I've been violated, I've been harassed, I've been discriminated against, and the perpetrator needs to pay. Let me tell you this, my brother. Let me tell you this, my sister. Your concern is not the perpetrator. Your concern is the one who's being destroyed by holding on to all that hostility and all that hatred. And who is the one who's destroyed by holding on to all that hostility and hatred? Think about it. It sounds like the 21st letter of the alphabet. That's right. It's you. You are being destroyed by not forgiving in a functional manner. Now, real quick, when we talk about the F word, forgiveness, many people have this thing completely wrong. They think that it's allowing the offender to continue the abuse. That's not what I'm talking about. You owe it to yourself to keep yourself safe. And remember this. Jesus died on the cross once. He did not continue to allow himself to be victimized. Somebody say amen for me. But what is the result of unforgiveness? Well, there was a study that was done in the journal entitled Marital and Family Therapy. The title of the article actually was Couple Forgiveness and its Moderating Role in the Intergenerational Transmission of Veterans' Post-Traumatic Stress Symptoms. In this study, they had male prisoners of war who were repatriated to their country, went back to their families, their wives, and children. Check this out. Those families who had a high tendency toward forgiveness, the post-traumatic stress symptoms were very low. Whereas those who had a spirit of unforgiveness, those post-traumatic stress symptoms transferred to their children. And I don't know if the article or if they're going to follow up to check out the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren of these prisoners of war. But my thought is that you're going to see, if they do follow up with all of those grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and so on, unforgiveness is going to be a gift that keeps on giving in a very negative manner. When you talk about the individuals in some of these movements, by their tone, by their energy, they seem to be leaving a legacy of contention, of combativeness, and of chaos. We really need more of a tendency, more of an atmosphere of constructiveness, kindness, and cohesion. What you're going to get after you functionally forgive is you're going to get a lasting, loving, liberating legacy. Ask Mary Johnson. Her son was killed. And what did she do? She met with the killer. She put her energy into growing that young man so that he could be the man that he should have been all along. Now, Debbie Baigrie, what did she do? She most certainly has mentored the 13-year-old kid who shot her. She actually was responsible for getting him out of prison. And then we have Adele Selfu. She lived in Rwanda. Her husband was killed during the genocide. And in fact, he was killed in front of her while she was holding his hand. And the person who killed him hit her in the head with the machete. hit her in the shoulder with the machete, hit her in her wrist with the machete. And what does she have to show for it today? She has a dangling wrist. It took her 3 years to in and out of the hospitals to finally get to some level of recovery. But she made a determination that her husband's death would not be in vain. She wanted his life to have a lasting, loving, liberating legacy. So she went to the prisons with all those killers, and she started mentoring them, providing clothes and food and blankets and Bible studies for them. And lo and behold, guess who was in that prison? A young man named Lewis. He was the one responsible for killing her husband. She gave him Bible studies. She mentored him. And he finally got released. And guess what? She didn't stop there. She actually gave him a home in which he could live. And where was that home? Oh, it was her home. In fact, she even went further. She adopted him as her son. You know, brothers and sisters, they can pass all the laws that they want. They can have everyone walking around like little robots. They're not going to get to the heart. What's going to get to the heart is the functional forgiveness. And that is going to leave that loving, liberating, and lasting legacy. 3 strategies that can help you as you're dealing with those individuals who have truly done you wrong. Number 1, conduct yourself with confidence. I promise you, Sister Selfu's conduct helped Lewis realize that her way was better than his way. Might you have some ill-intending person still attempt to harass or assault or discriminate against you? And that's when you move into number 2. You confront in a caring manner. The sharpest Marine that I ever saw was someone who did just that. Anyway, there's a link, and by the way, there's a link to all these individuals in the description box. But check out this, and I'm going to entitle it Marine Confronting Marine Confronting Bully. Number 3, you guide the person to higher ground. That's what Miss Johnson did. In fact, she lives right beside O'Shea. Now, those 3 ladies have a loving, lasting, and liberating legacy. And by the way, that liberating legacy is most certainly to those who violated them. But that liberating legacy, I promise you, is liberating them. One final story is of this person I'm just going to call Jed. Jed was from a group that was underrepresented in Jed's country. But Jed knew that Jed was of value. And Jed conducted Jed's self in such a way that it bespoke of Jed's value. And when Jed was harassed by the police, Jed realized that Jed had to do something because of Jed, who realized that Jed was of value, could experience this. Then imagine somebody else who did not realize his or her value. So Jed decided to confront in a caring manner. Jed went to court. And not only did Jed go to court, but Jed won. Jed could have taken that police officer's ability to practice as a police officer. But Jed went to step number 3, which was to guide to higher ground. Jed told that police officer, listen, I'm not trying to take food off your family's table. You have a wife to attend to. You have children that need loving care. But when you deal with this underrepresented population, remember me. Remember what I did for you. And do better. Now, my brother, my sister, what's your legacy? After you've been hurt, after you've been harmed, after you've been harassed, is your legacy to spread hatefulness, hurtfulness, and hostility? Or is your legacy to spread help, hope, and healing? I promise you this, your banner is flying. Your story is being told. What is it that people are seeing? What will your legacy be? Like, subscribe, comment, share. Additionally, go to www.destressmethod.com for more resource information. That's all we got for now. This is D, and Less Stress for Life. That's what's up. Peace.